What if the fate of the next Lakers dynasty hinges not on star power alone, but on timing, the precise moment when grit meets grace? When savvy front office moves collide with the merciless ticking clock of free agency and player options. What if the true battle isn't fought just on hardwood floors, but in war rooms filled with whispers, clandestine phone calls, and impossible salary cap puzzles? Welcome back to Lakers News Fan Report, where raw truth meets purple and gold passion. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a second of this drama. Because what we're witnessing right now isn't just another offseason. It's the crucible that could forge or fracture Los Angeles basketball's future. Rob Pelinka's hands remain full, rugged as ever, after pulling off a second-round coup that disguises itself as the 36th pick but carries the weight of a first-round talent. Adu, the new name on the ledger, is the latest in a quartet of bold draft decisions that have sent ripples across Lakers Nation, joining the lineage of Dalton Connect, Bronny James, J.N. Chafino, and Max Christie. A group stitched together by hope, patience, and the relentless pursuit of impact on what feels like a roster in flux. But here's the thing. This wasn't just happenstance. Starting from pick 55, moving up to 45, and then 36, the Lakers front office showed a fierce aggression, fueled by a carpe diem mindset and blessed by ownership's blessing to break molds and bend rules. Rob Pelinka laid it bare. Despite lacking a coveted first-round pick, the scouting department saw a DOU as first-round caliber, a low-key win that feels like getting back the pick they traded away. But this isn't about just talent. It's about transforming the team's DNA to become younger, more athletic, and better armored for the bruising, increasingly physical style dominating the modern playoffs. This is a roster in need of more than finesse it. It demands brawn, wing length, and defensive tenacity. Adu's frame, big shoulders, broad chest is specifically built for that. A player who can catch lobs from the wing, set off Luka Doncic's court vision, turn paint decisions into slam dunks, and muddy the waters on defense. When the whistle blows and the game turns into a test of physical wills, adding a player like, this is more than strategy, it's a statement. And speaking of statements, Pelinka compared a DOU to the archetypes of OG Anunoby and Ob Toppin guys who are relentless two-way warriors, explosive and raw but with the capacity to grow there. Shooting touch and defensive repertoire into elite status. This kid isn't just a project. He's a potential cornerstone of that violent symphony the Lakers want to orchestrate on both ends. Character matters too, and the team's leadership has already invested FaceTime with Adu lunches and conversations to vet not just the talent, but the hunger to learn, to grow, to fight. This kind of developmental mindset could be the key to squeezing every ounce of potential from this pick. But even with this promising addition, the Lakers' offseason chessboard reveals unfinished puzzles, the most glaring being the gaping hole at center. The draft did not solve that. Rob was candid. Bolstering the middle remains a paramount task as the team enters free agency. With only around $5.7 million to spend under an unforgiving cap, the luxury of splurging on a prime center is a pipe dream. That means calls will be made, stones will be overturned, phones glued to ears well into the night. The list of targets reads like a who's who of Lakers past and present: Brook Lopez, Clint Capella, Miles Turner, and even Nez Reed, all names with the potential to fill that interior void. But money is tight, cap space is scarce, and the ticking clock on leverage looms large. Pivoting to trades, could a salary dump like Kristaps Porzingis, fresh off a sketchy health season, but still a shot blocker and stretch big, be the key that unlocks the Lakers' center conundrum? Atlanta's roster shift and health questions could make him feasible, or does the risk outweigh the potential reward? The Lakers have danced with promising young players to fill supporting roles and have learned the hard way that playoff success often hinges on rim protection and grit. It's the invisible scaffolding that allows superstars to shine in the endure. Clutch. Without it, even the most star-studded teams can crumble. Meanwhile, every pick, every contract, Every signing feels like a piece in a puzzle that only the front office truly sees, a mosaic made of dollars, minutes, and intangible chemistry. Speaking of contracts, the looming decision surrounding LeBron James' player option on June 29th cast a long shadow. Will the King opt in and frame this next season as the final act of an unparalleled career, a farewell tour writ large across the courts where he's rewritten basketball history? Or will he opt out, signing a 2-year deal extension that buys flexibility without sacrifice, keeping him in LA's hallowed purple and gold home? The signs whisper strongly toward a return, with family, legacy, and a shared belief in day. Teams' potential acting as powerful magnets. There's no Brooklyn Nets trade twist here, just homecoming pulses through every conversation. And then there's Luka Doncic's own contractual storm on the horizon, eligible for a $229 million extension this August. Once a potential 5-year deal got vetoed by his Mavericks trade, now it's about choosing between locking in for 4 years or betting on a shorter-term pact that preserves flexibility and maybe goodwill on both sides. The Lakers, in a way, are wagering on the idea that their young superstar and seasoned veteran can co-pilot a championship run that defies the wounds of the past and the insecurities of the present roster. But what about the value of those second-round picks? History shows so many mid-round or undrafted diamonds can emerge from the shadows and reshape legacies. Think Jaylen Brown, Draymond Green, Johnny Brunson. Eric Dixon, a Villanova sharpshooter who just inked a 2-way deal, is a perfect example. The Lakers aren't just gambling on raw talent. They're scanning for players who can provide cheap, efficient labor, steady, experienced pros who come from the tough end of college basketball's grind, ready to plug gaps and battle immediately. Because when top salaries balloon and cap room vanishes, these choices become the foundation for a playoff roster's depth and resilience. Yet, even as the draft dust settles, the bigger questions loom, their answers deliberately kept just out of reach. How will the Lakers balance the need for brawn and skill, youth and experience, cap compliance and star power? Can the team finally secure the defensive anchor they lacked last season? Will LeBron's next move signal an ultimate farewell or another chapter of relentless pursuit? And with Luka's extension looming, are we witnessing the dawn of a new alliance or merely the calm before another storm? As a lifelong Lakers fan who has weathered the dizzying heights of championship glory and the gut-wrenching depths of heartbreak, I can't help but feel we stand at a crossroads where every decision is magnified, every whisper amplified into potential thunder. The rhythm of this offseason has been one of urgency layered with hope, of tension tangled with possibility. So here I sit, pulsing with every front office move and every rumor, wondering, is this the birth of a new Lakers empire, forged in smart aggression and resilience? Or is it the fragile beginning of our unraveling a chapter that starts strong, but ends in sorrow once more? Drop your take in the comments. I'll be reading every one. Listen to me, Lakers Nation. This is the crossroads moment where every heartbeat of purple and gold is pounding loud enough to shake the rafters at Crypto.com Arena. You feel that fire, that pit in your stomach, that electric mix of hope and dread? That's not some casual off-season buzz. That's the very soul of Lakers basketball trembling on the edge of something big, something that could either rewrite history or tear us apart all over again. Because make no mistake, the stakes are as personal as they are legendary. LeBron James isn't just a player. He's the living embodiment of Lakers greatness, a titan who carried us from drought into one last glorious storm. But here's the wrench in the gears. Every move we make this summer ripples through his legacy like seismic shockwaves. What if LeBron opts in, comes back hungry, but a little less explosive, a little more injury-prone? What does that mean for Anthony Davis, the man burdened with carrying the frontline hopes, trying to be that defensive anchor and offensive juggernaut who just can't seem to shake the health demons? AD's been the franchise's spine and savior, but he's also the reminder that our core isn't invincible. What if this draft class, these young guns like Adu, Bronny, Christie are not just hopeful sparks, but the necessary future pillars ready to step out of shadows, fill those painful gaps and start fashioning a new Lakers identity? And what about Austin Reeves, that scrappy heartbreaker who's stolen the spotlight with hustle and grit, proving that Lakers basketball isn't just about the stars, it's about the street fights, the relentless effort, the clutch moments that mess with everything. His presence is a glue, a declaration that this team's soul is changing, evolving. Picture this: Jeannie Buss sitting in the front office chair, calm but calculating, holding steady the family legacy with a fierce grip on tradition. But lurking in the shadows is a billionaire, someone with pockets deep enough to rewrite NBA economics, with visions that could either make or break the foundations Jeannie and Magic built. What if this silent force swoops in, challenging the status quo, nudging the franchise into a new era of money-driven madness that either catapults us back to the top or shatters the delicate balance of team chemistry and community trust? The Lakers have been here before, living through the dazzling flare of 80s Showtime, where Magic danced and ruled, and the Staples was a cathedral of joy and dominance. Then came the grind and raw power of the early 2000s, the three-peat forge. By Kobe and Shaq's firestorm, a chapter penned in sheer will and unstoppable force. The 2010s whispered bitter revenge, the retirement and rebirth ambivalence that almost broke us, only to be renewed in 2020 with the bubble banner, the ultimate testament that even in exile, this team's spirit refuses to die. But since then, we've been stuck in the purgatory of unmet expectations, injuries, and front office headaches that echo like a haunting curse. Now ask yourself, are we on the verge of a new dynasty, this time one built with smart aggression, a roster that balances youth and wisdom, brawn and flair? Or is this a fragile mirage, a burst of hope before the inevitable plunge? And in the current Western Conference chaos, every Lakers move is a chess move amid kings and pawns. The Warriors, aging but still sharp, hold on like a vice, still a threat beneath that golden sheen, daring anyone to take them down. Denver's rising, a force bursting with Jokic's artistry, Murray's fire, eyes set on domination. Then there's the Suns and Clippers opportunists sniffing blood, ready to exploit any Lakers misstep, any sign of weakness. What if the Lakers fail to land that dominant center, that rim protector who can anchor defense like Mastodon of old, and suddenly the blueprint falls apart against a West that's unforgiving and brutal? What if tension creeps between Luka's impending extension and our royalty in Los Angeles, their contracts a silent tug-of-war, their futures entwined or torn asunder? I want you to imagine sitting in that sold-out crowd, the roar swelling as every pass, every dunk, every defensive scramble feels like a battle for the franchise's soul, a crucible where legends or heartbreaks are born. You're not just watching basketball. You're witnessing history, every stolen contract, every trade offer, every whispered phone call cracking open the door to triumph or tragedy. But what if the true test ahead is deeper than talent or money? What if it's about chemistry, about trust, about legacy, and how hungry these players are to etch their names shoulder to shoulder with giants? As Lakers fans, we've weathered highs that made us feel immortal and lows that shattered our breathless hope. This offseason's drama feels heavier than any since the drama of 2018. Heavier even than the boiling pressure when Kobe's twilight years clashed with rebuilding efforts. The silence around LeBron's decision, the intrigue behind Pelinka's secret maneuverings, the friction in the locker room whispers. This is the dense fog of destiny. But here's the raw truth. The Lakers' identity isn't just painted purple and gold. It's carved from resilience, forged in adversity, and baptized in blood, sweat, and tears. If Adu or any of these young players become the defensive recharge, athletic disruptors we crave, if the front office nails that trade or free agent signing despite our near-zero cap room, and if LeBron King James himself chooses to purr, lace his boots one more time in this city that embraced him, then maybe, just maybe, We'll be staring at the rebirth of Lakers supremacy that this league hasn't seen since the pandemic bubble shimmered with magic. But what if none of it clicks? What if the pieces refuse to gel, the cap restrictions muzzle the front office's hands, and injuries continue to gnaw at LeBron and AD? What if that billionaire disruptor arrives with promises that fracture the delicate family dynamic driving wedges between players and management, turning the very idea of Lakers basketball into a cold corporate nightmare? These are the agonizing questions carving deep trenches in our fan hearts as we watch this saga unfold. And me, as a Laker till the day I die, here's where I see coming. A summer of urgency, drama, and raw bite. A summer where front office skullduggery and player decisions will either ignite a dynasty once more or crumble the foundation one more time. This isn't just basketball. It's a fight for the soul of a city, the pride of a franchise, and the legacy of legends who've pulled the weight of worlds on their backs. Now I want to hear it from you. Drop your rawest take below. Every true believer in purple and gold. What's your gut? Are we on the cusp of a Lakers renaissance? Or is this the start of another dark chapter in the saga we can't seem to shake? Because in this chaos, one thing's for sure: nobody, and I mean nobody, will forget what happens next.